Hello all, welcome to the live session. This is GATE NPTEL session number 12 which will be conducted by me. I am Swanand Telpande. So I will take previous year 4 GATE question papers, like 4 questions from previous year GATE question paper, which is 2010 GATE question paper. So first of all, let me share my screen. So first question I will go through. I will take total 4 questions today, mostly from physical metallurgy and mechanical metallurgy. So the first question is, this is question number 19, GATE Metallurgical Engineering 2010 question paper. A square of 9 mm square area is subjected to a simple shear displacement √3 mm along x direction as shown below. So one square is there. Just a second. So let's take one square. So this is a square of area 9 mm square they have given. So area A is 9 mm square. So the side will be, let's say the side small a will be root of 9, which will be equal to 3 mm. So the side of this square is 3 mm. Now what they have asked is to calculate the shear displacement basically. So the shear strain is given by gamma, which is equal to tan theta, which is equal to h by d. So what is h and what is d, I will just tell you. So let's say this is one square. Now we will apply shear to this. So what will happen, this will turn into something like this. Okay, so basically this is given by h. How much displacement we gave in shear is given by h, and the initial this height of the rectangle, or let's say in this case square, is basically d. So basically this is d only. So this is d. So here, so we have all the quantities. H is √3 and d is 3. So the shear strain will be √3 divided by 3, which will be equal to 1 by √3. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Now we will go to the next question. This is question number 20, GATE Metallurgical Engineering 2010 question paper. During metal casting of a slab, the thickness of solid formed after time t is proportional to. So option A is t raised to power 1 by 3. Option B is t raised to power 1 by 2. Option C is t, and option D is t square. So we have to find out, let's say, what is the solidification rule. Solidification rule is basically given by Charvy-Knobs rule, which tells that the time taken for solidification is dependent on V by A whole square. This is basically the Charvy-Knobs rule, where T is the time taken by solidification. T is solidification time. K is the mold constant. V is the volume of material which is getting solidified. And A is the area of material. Area of the geometry which is getting solidified. Hence, this is always proportional to thickness square. So, the time taken by solidification is proportional to the thickness square. So, we have to find out. So, I will again come back to here. T is proportional to thickness square. Now, then, therefore, the thickness, solidified thickness, will be proportional to T raised to power half. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Here we have to just revert the same rule, like T is proportional to thickness square, which means that thickness will be proportional to T raised to power half. This is question number 35, GATE Metallurgical Engineering 2010 question paper. A recrystallization process is 20% complete after 45 seconds and 85% complete after 75 seconds. Assuming Avrami kinetics, the value of Avrami exponent n is. Options are A 4.19, option B is 3.12, option C is 2.42 and option D is 1.34. So basically, what is Avrami equation? Avrami equation is given by the fraction, let's say the fraction is y, fraction of recrystallization is equal to 1 minus exponential of minus of k t raised to power n. Okay, so where we have to calculate this n, which is the Avrami exponent. So the values which we have is, in 45 seconds 20% is complete. So first case we will solve. So here y is 0.2. So 0.2 equal to 1.5 e raised to power minus of minus k t1, let's call it as t1 for time being, raised to power n. So if we simplify this, exponential of minus k t raised to power n, t1 raised to power n is equal to 0.8. So minus k t1 raised to power n will be equal to ln of 0.8, right? So let's call this as equation number 1. Now we will take second case. So here 85% is complete after 75 seconds. So y is 0.85. Okay, so 0.85 is equal to 1 minus exponential of minus k t2 raised to power n. Okay, so again simplifying this, we will get exponential of minus k t2 raised to power n is equal to 0.15. Okay, now coming to again simplifying this, k t2 raised to power n which will be equal to ln of 0.15. Let's call this as equation number 2. Now we have two equations, equation 1 and equation 2 for both the cases. Now let's divide equation 1 by equation number 2. So minus kk will get cancelled. So it comes out to be T1 by T2 raised to power n is equal to ln of 0.8 by ln of 0.15. Okay, so we know T1, we know T2. T1 is basically 45 seconds, T1 is 45 seconds and T2 is 75 seconds. So we can directly put this in this equation, which will be like 45 divided by 75 raised to power n is equal to ln of 0.8 by ln of 0.15, and which is basically 0.1176. So from this we can calculate that n comes out to be 4.19. So the correct answer for this question is option A, 4.19. Now coming to the last question for today's session. This is question number 22, GATE Metallurgical Engineering 2010 question paper. Driving force for grain growth after completion of recrystallization is: option A is stored energy of cold work, option B is vacancy concentration, option C is dislocation density in a crystal, and option D is grain boundary curvature. So when the recrystallization is complete, let's say I have a material which is basically like this. Now I have heavily cold rolled this material, let's say some sort of plastic cold working I have done, so which creates this type of structure. So small grains will be formed, which we often termed as recrystallized grains. So after this recrystallization, this is not a stable structure. So what happens is, like, when we give time and temperature for kinetics, so these grain boundaries will try to align like this. Most of these grain boundaries will try to reduce the area. So the reduction in grain boundary. So the reduction in grain boundary, just to overall reduce the grain boundary energy, will take place. So which will lead to decrease in grain boundary energy because of grain growth. When decrease in grain boundary energy will take place, and this will be because of grain boundary curvature basically. So before the structures were like this, so this is a recrystallized grain, so later it will be forming like this, where all this 120-degree grain boundaries will be there, and these smaller grains will turn into bigger grains to reduce the grain boundary energy. So the correct option for question number 22 is option D, grain boundary curvature. So that's all for today's session. So I will try to summarize this. So in first question we were asked to calculate how, like, the simple shear displacement when a square was sheared for √3 direction. So in the direction of shear it was √3 displacement. So we could calculate the simple shear displacement by the simple basic formula of shear strength, which is gamma equal to tan theta, and the correct answer was 1 by root 3. In second problem, it was based on the Chauvinot's rule principle that the time taken for solidification is proportional to V by A square, where V represents the volume of the material and A represents the area of the material, and V by A basically is proportional to the thickness. And if it is proportional to the thickness, then thickness is proportional to T raised to power half, which is the correct answer in this question. And in next question, it was based on the Avrami equation. Two conditions were they were given, where 20% the recrystallization was complete after 45 seconds and 85% was complete after 75 seconds. So we had two equations for that, and with the help of two equations we could find out the Avrami exponent, which is n, which came out to be 4.19. and in last question we need to find out the driving force for grain growth after completion of recrystallization, which is basically the reduction in grain boundary energy, and the reduction in grain boundary energy is because of the grain boundary curvature, which is option D. So thank you for attending this session.